Okay, guys. So this next training that I'm doing right now is the unit training, and so um, this training is designed to be done with the members of the other counselors of the unit that you're assigned to. You're supposed to do a bunch of activities together. Obviously, we can't do that right now, so I'm just gonna break it down. So hopefully, you guys have gotten the packet, and it should tell you what unit you're going to be with and which cabin. If you haven't gotten that, feel free to email us, and we'll try and figure it out for you. Also, that is subject to change, so we'll let you know if any changes are made, and it should all work out at camp. But so they wanted us to start off this training by doing a review of all the roles that people have at camp. Um, so I'm just gonna go through each of those real quick, and then go through different things that each counselor is going to have to do. It has some of the responsibilities. So different roles at camp. So we've got a cabin counselor, which is the majority of volunteers at Camp Custom. They're camp counselors who they spend all day with their unit, participating in the activities, and then at night they sleep in the cabin with their campers. And then next is a unit leader. They're like a cabin counselor, but they have a couple other responsibilities. They have to be first aid and CPR certified, and um, they do all the same things as a cabin counselor. They spend the whole day with their campers, and then they spend the night in the cabin with the campers. And then also they attend a meeting each night to review kind of things that happened during the day, and then also figure out things for the next day. They also are the first people that the admin team will contact if there's any announcements that need to be made to the whole camp. They have a walk. Each unit leader has a walkie-talkie, and they will be contacted. And then also if something goes wrong and the admin team needs to be contacted, the unit leader does it because they have the walkie-talkie. Um, then there's also program counselors. So program counselors, they are in charge of running different activities at camp each day. So like a program counselor is probably going to be assigned to arts and crafts. So each day they run whatever activity there is for arts and crafts. Another counselor would be in charge of sports, and they run whatever those types of activities are. Um, we also will have 3 nurses at camp this year, and they're amazing. They're in charge of most of the first aid stuff that we need. The nurses will do. They also administer all of the meds throughout the day, and as needed for if like a camper has a headache or something and needs something, they can take care of it. We'll also have 2 mental health professionals, and so anytime we've got a camper really stressing out and you need some sort of more professional help, the mental health professionals are the ones to go to. And those will be the same as last year. We've got Llama and Cadbury, and they're amazing. We love them. Okay, and then next, we've also got the admin team. So the admin team is made up of the camp directors, a couple other counselors from the coordinating board, and then our 2 camp advisors who are employed by Camp Custom National. They come and they help with a lot of the stuff going on around camp logistics wise. And then also the program director is another employee of Camp Custom, and she will be there for a couple days. And it's the same program director we had last year. It's Ginger Snap, also known as G Snap. She is also awesome. And she just helps with making sure we're following policies and um, gives help with any sort of situations that we have. And yeah, so admin just runs like the whole admin team together collectively. They run camp. They take care of all problems. They run a lot of the activities. They keep everybody on schedule, and they're amazing. Please, 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 if the admin team asks you to do something, just do it. They're just doing their job. Camp can be stressful, especially for the admin team, because they're in charge of so many things and they're dealing with all of the problems and unfortunate things that happen at camp. And so sometimes they're stressed and they might sound like they're snapping at you. They're not trying to be mean. They're not necessarily angry with you. Be patient with them and try and do what they ask. We have a really good admin team this year. I'm excited to work with them. And please just respect them and do the best you can. And be understanding if you feel like... And if you feel like they're being unfair to you, you can talk to them and just be civil about it, okay? And then if you have any questions, feel free to ask them as well. Okay, so the next thing we wanted to talk about... So with the packet that we gave you, where we told you what cabin you're with, we want you to try and be aware of what unit and age group you're going to be with. And before camp comes, we want you to think about some of the potential problems that you could have with that kind of age group. Think about the rules that you're going to set with your campers. And then think about some of the activities that you'd like to do during the times where it's not as structured. Like, think about games that you can play while you're waiting for dinner and stuff like that. So each morning, we're supposed to do bed checks. And that is for all the age groups, actually. It's not just for the young kids. It's for all the way through the teens. We're supposed to have at least one counselor per cabin do a bed check. And usually they suggest that we do that as campers go down to breakfast or down to the bathrooms to change or to brush their teeth, whatever. Just have one counselor hang back for a minute and kind of check the bed, see if anything looks damp. They suggested that you can have a paper towel to lay down to see if something looks like it might be damp, to check it. And then if something is damp or doesn't smell good or something's wrong, sorry about that. There is laundry. There is a washing machine and dryer there, and so we'll give you a garbage bag to get that those sheets and blankets or sleeping bags, whatever, bagged up, and you can bring it, and we'll wash it and then get it back to them. But try and be discreet about it, because it's potentially very embarrassing for the kids if they do have a problem at night and they need that bed check. So make sure to check for those. Also, we do checks for bed bugs before anybody's allowed to put things in the cabin. We'll check for that. Next thing is, so on the first day of camp, each unit makes a cabin, or each cabin does their cabin agreements. And so as a cabin, both counselors and campers, you sit down and you talk about the rules that you want for your cabin and for your unit. And so you go through and mutually agree to all the rules that you want to have. And so you allow for the campers to suggest the rules, and then have everybody talk about it, and then you you need to make sure that there's like the important rules for keeping everyone safe and keeping everyone um, well behaved. But then let your counselor, let your campers come up with whatever rules they want, and you can write them on. We'll give you a big sheet of paper that you didn't write them on in marker, and then you'll hang up in the cabin, and you can refer back to those rules throughout the week and remind them that you all agreed to them, and so everyone needs to follow them. And with that, you need to have consistent rule enforcement throughout the week. If you guys agree to a rule, you need to enforce that rule, and you can't just do it with the campers that maybe are more problematic and you don't necessarily get along with as well. You have to enforce it consistently for all the campers. Okay. Just two last quick things. So with there are some other things that each counselor is going to need to do throughout the week, and different jobs, and we'll tell you more about those later. And you guys will need to talk with each other about who's going to do what job when, whether you want to each keep the same job each day, or if you want to change it up. That's up to your discretion. You guys decide. And then we also want to talk briefly about unit dynamics. So a lot of people are going to end up with people they've been in, done Camp Kesem with before. Some of them will end up with classmates from school that they're friends with, or even just their friends. We need you guys to make sure that there aren't any kind of cliques at camp. We want everybody to feel just as included as someone else. So if you're in a unit and you're with your best friend and then somebody you've never met before, try and be as inclusive as possible of the person you haven't met before. Become their friend, treat them as best you can. And that's kind of what we want for this training. But make sure that you're trying to be as inclusive of everybody as possible. So that's about it for this training. So thanks, guys.